Tim here again. Welcome back to the shop. Had a question come up again the other day about how to take a board that might be 2 or 3 inches wide and how to cut narrow strips out of it. Anything less than about 2 inches, what you can do obviously is have your jointed edge ready to go next to your fence. But for my taste, having a board that close to the guard and the blade and the fence, and either putting my hands through there to run it through or getting a proper push stick and running it through is just a little bit too tight on the confines for my taste. So I always like to take on something that narrow and run it over to my bandsaw and do it on my bandsaw. So let's go over to the bandsaw. Knowing again we've got a jointed edge here. And if I'm going to take this piece and I want to make it 1.5 inches wide, I'm simply going to make it 1/8 of an inch wider than my desired end piece is going to be. So in this case, I've set it for 1 5/8 inches. I'm going to run it through. Hand's always way out of the way of the blade. I like to always use a proper push stick to guide myself through. Now I've got my object piece about 1/8 of an inch wider than I really want it to end up, and I've got a rough bandsawed edge down here. I'm simply going to take it over to my surface planer, open it up, fire it up. Obviously with my jointed edge down, now my top edge is nice and flat. My planer is taking care of that. My piece is to the final dimension that it needs to be. A safe, good way to cut narrow strips in your shop where you don't have to rely on the table saw to do all your ripping. You can use the bandsaw and still get a nice smooth edge by running it through your planer after the fact. It's a really good way to cut narrow material in your shop without having to get close to that bandsaw or that table saw blade and have your fingers too close to a blade that you don't want to touch in the first place. There you go.